doing only mistakes. So when you bring a person to first time to some job, because he doesn't know, he will do mistakes only. So first you have to start by telling him what he should not do. Then yama, which means what he should do. Then asana, dharana, pranayama. Pranayama means breathing exercise. Why breathing is so important? Because all our functions of this working senses depends on the breathing. Just like we have hydraulic machines, pneumatic machines, they're using the air. So the control has to be very precise. Similarly, unless this breathing is proper, your working senses will not function. So therefore, he says how to regulate the pranas or life airs. And then he's talking about the pratyahara, which means the diet. The diet means not only necessarily the food, what goes into the senses, what you see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. That is also has to be regulated. Then asana means sitting place. Just like we have chosen this place venue, you could have done this class anywhere in the open somewhere. But the place has an importance. So that's why the sitting posture also has to be, for example, if you're lying down, naturally, if you hear the class, you will feel sleepy, or I'll also. So we are sitting up erect and doing some things like this. Then dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So dharana, dhyana, samadhi is how we have to involve the mind part. First 5 parts are the bodily engagements. Then dharana, dhyana, samadhi is how to gradually regulate the mind. But then Krishna also gives an alternative. So what are those? We'll see now. One more important point was explained is what is the beginning of the yoga ladder? That is known as the yoga ruda, yoga rurukshu. And what is the yoga ruda stage of the? How do you know you are attained perfection? Just like if you want to do a course, there are some prerequisites. Do you qualify for this course? So similarly, to qualify for yoga, to begin yoga, there are some prerequisites, and that is explained. That's all this Nishkama Karma Yoga, all this has to be practiced before. That is, a person who is doing work, he should not be attached to the results. All those are some qualifications for beginning yoga itself. Just like if you want to travel someplace, at least you should get to the starting point. When you're putting a Google map or something, it is asking where is your starting location. Then it asks for the end location. That is like what is the goal? If you want to do yoga, you should also set a goal. And that is explained also. And then how do you know you're progressing on this path? Just like you on the map or something, you start from the starting location, end location, and then it shows the map. But it's always possible that you can deviate. So if you deviate, or how do you know you're in the right course? All this was explained by Krishna so far. Now we'll begin today's session, verse 11 to 23. That's why we are doing so many verses is earlier. Every weekend we used to have one chapter. And in between the week, that is Monday, especially during the lockdown and when it was getting relaxed. So we had daily Monday to Friday, we used to complete the entire chapter. This chapter being a very long one, 47 verses. We try to squeeze in all those 47 verses in 5 days. So that's why it is so many verses today, but still we'll see how much we can cover. Shuchau deshe pratishthapya. Shuchau deshe pratishthapya. Stiram asanamatmanah. Stiram asanamatmanah. Natu shritam nati nicham. Natu uchritam nati nicham. Chailajina kushottaram. Chailajina kushottaram. Tatraikakram manakritva. Tatraikakram manakritva. Yata chittendriya kriyah. Yata chittendriya kriyah. Upavishyasani yunjat. Upavishyasani yunjat. Yogam atma vishuddhaye. Yogam atma vishuddhaye. So it's a long word, so I'll not repeat it one more time. So why we repeat these verses, just like when we were a child, how we learned, keep on repeating. We don't understand beginningly. But when we keep on repeating, at some point, that becomes comprehension. So like that, this beauty of these verses is, whether you understand or don't understand, by repeating it, gradually one can come to understand what are they mean. So just like I'm able to explain now, because I have been repeating for many years, although I didn't know. So first it talks about to practice yoga. So yoga means we want to attain perfection. We talked that Krishna is explaining. That is sacrifice and renunciation. I mean yoga. That is renunciation and yoga. That was the discussion. That is, we give up something and we accept something. Just like I have some money, currency notes. When does it acquire value? If you just keep all the currency in your house, it is no good. You have to start exchanging, just like in the demonetization happened. People have stocked up a lot of currency. Immediately when they had to convert it, they faced a lot of problems. So some of them dumped it here and there and put it in fire. So that cash has to be converted into something valuable. So like that, we are forced in this life. You have to give something and get something. Not that you will keep on getting or keep on giving. So to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place. So what is the secluded place? Just like we have chosen this place, we can also do this in the OAT or something, but obviously there will be a problem. So one requirement is there should be less disturbance, because each one is trying to achieve different things. If you go in the traffic, middle of the traffic, people are wanting to go different directions. But then you come out of that in a place where goal is fixed, secluded place. But you cannot find the secluded place in this modern world sometimes. Because why you are coming to a populated place? Because you want many facilities. So if you go and sit in a secluded place, you won't have that facilities. So what you do, you come to a place populated. But if you come to a populated place, like we had this pandemic, that is the negative side, that you become affected by this people around you. So therefore, secluded place means, in another sense, not being disturbed by the surroundings. So you should mold yourself in such a way that either, if possible, be in seclusion. If you cannot, at least you don't get influenced by what is happening out. And should lay kusha grass. Like kusha grass, the grass has this property that it can. There are, just like you have many forces, electromagnetic forces. Right now, around us, so many electromagnetic waves are there. Because there have been some research has been done. Wherever there are high tension power cables, in some countries you have this high tension power cables running around the city, and those who live near that place, they get some mental effects. So also we see that because of all these mobile technologies, the sparrows have become extinct. So like this kusha grass has the property that it can ward off these effects. So that's why they use this kusha grass, and particularly it should be pointing in one particular direction. Just like you have magnets, they are aligned themselves in the north-south direction. So this kusha grass, when it is placed in one particular direction, it has the power to, especially you see in the eclipse time and all, they will tell you to get them kusha grass and keep it in all the items which you cannot dispose of. You have to keep it even during the eclipse. So at least you can ward off these effects by putting kusha grass. And much more, this grass is sometimes used for even producing brahmastra. So that much power is there. Like we say E is equal to mc squared, but we really don't understand how such a tiny mass can produce so much energy. But this science was known earlier. How using this small grass you can uh, get so much benefit, and that too on the ground. Why on the ground? You can sit very high, also problem. If you sit too low, then some insects will crawl over you or snakes can come. So, and then cover it with a deer skin. Why deer skin? Because deer skin has some antiseptic properties. On that tiger skin, also deer skin, when you sit on that skin, these insects will not crawl over it. So these are all, and soft cloth. Why, if it's not a soft cloth, then you will be disturbed while sitting on it. So basically, these are all some requirements for being able to sit and do yoga. And the seat should be neither too high nor too low, and should be situated in a sacred place. So why sacred place? Already it has, just like when playing a cricket match in such a particular stadium. Beforehand, we calculate, this ground is not favorable for this kind of game, or this team will lose. We can predict. So these sacred places, like the Mahabharata war was fought on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because already many sacrifices were performed there. And just like why we go to that particular court, there already so many judgments have been passed in a certain way. So this sacred place carries the influence for a longer period. It can retain good influences for a longer time. And the yogi should then sit on it very firmly. Firmly means he should not simply move around here and there. Then and practice yoga to purify the heart. So obviously he cannot sit there forever. Definitely sometime here and there he has to take a break. But what is the purpose? To purify the heart. Here heart means the consciousness, by controlling his mind, senses and activities. So knowledge acquired senses and working senses and the mind. So here controlling doesn't mean you stop the mind, stop the senses, or stop activities. It should be regulated and fixing the mind on the one point. So the mind should have a focus. Without focusing the mind, you cannot go anywhere. Even materially, you have to succeed also. The mind should have some focus, should have some goal. So that is what is being explained in this verse.
Hare Krishna. So like always, I just discussed the breakup of this chapter. So 1 to 9 we have discussed advancing in Ashtanga Yoga from Anuryoga to Arudha stage. 1 to 2 was yoga and sannyas are the same. 3 and 4 was what are the two levels of Ashtanga Yoga? They were introduced to the words Anuryoga and Arudha. And 5 and 6 was talking about mind being both enemy and friend. 7 and 9 were discussing about the symptoms of a person in yoga stage, which is the advanced stage. 10 onwards, 10 to 32, it is the actual part of Dhyan Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga practice. Out of that 10 to 32, 10 to 17 is talking about the actual practicing of Ashtanga Yoga. What are the basic practices? What are the recommendations and goals of Ashtanga Yoga? So we are on the shloka number 11 now. So shloka number 10 was discussing that we should be always engaging the body, mind, and self in samadhi. We should be living in a secluded place. We should be always controlling the mind, and we should be free from all desires and possessiveness. Now, 11 to 14 is talking about the basic practices of Ashtanga Yoga, which is once we find a secluded place, we have to sit firmly in a clean, sacred, secluded place. It should not be too high, too low. Now, and then we should look at rear skin. Rear skin means there will be no worms or nothing else will come to disturb it, cockroach or worm or anything. They will not get on the ears. That is why sit on the ears. Then on top of the rear skin, put a soft cloth. Now this is again, if we see from the yoga point of view, yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, dhyati. These are the 8 stages. So the yam, niyam we have to do first, which is the do's and the don'ts. So the do's are chanting. And the don'ts are the 4 regulative processes, which are no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. no illicit sex. These are the four regulatory principles, and then we come to asana. So what we do normally yoga, when we go to any yoga school, they start telling us, okay, raise your hand like this, put your arm touch your feet, this, that, different things. The purpose of all those yoga, uh, you know, the asanas is so that we are able to sit in one place without moving for a long time. Now, it's easy to do that on a chair, but when we sit down on the floor and Padmasana or Sukhasana, whatever we call it, then sitting for a long time in the same posture becomes a challenge. Even for like, one half an hour, 1 hour also, we find it difficult. So then what do we do? That is why all these asanas, the yogasanas, the different asanas are there to teach us so that we are able to do this. So that is the asana part, that is the sitting part. So we sit firmly and we fix the mind. After sitting firmly in one place, the purpose of doing all this is there is no disturbance. If the person is continuously getting up, sitting down, then the mind is also restless. Anyway, the mind has a habit of running around all over the place, going beyond wherever we are, and reminding us of all the things that we thought we will do, which may be of interest to us, and we are not doing right now because we are sitting there. Mind is anyways making us jump around. On top of that, we ourselves will be getting up, sitting up, or changing our position again and again. So we are not in a position to concentrate. Only when we learn the art of sitting in one place for a long time without disturbance, physical disturbance, then the mind also will be able to concentrate on something. Now, to understand this, when we are studying for our exams or anything, we are not mind, once we get into the flow of studies, it doesn't matter even if the fan is switched or if the basics, well, as long as the lighting is there, the basics are there, the rest of it doesn't matter. That where we are sitting, what we are doing, because we're so absorbed in what we are doing. So to reach that level of absorption, that these are the basics. That you sit in a quiet place, you sit in a secluded place, you sit on chairs, you put a soft cloth on top, so that you're able to sit firmly for some time. And then what do? You fix the mind on one point, controlling the mind and senses. One should do yoga for purification of the consciousness, which is Atma Vishuddhaya. We have to do yoga, which is for purifying. What is the purpose of doing that yoga? For purifying the consciousness.
So a few more points here before we take some questions. First one is that the sacred places, they are already enriched with so many facilities. Like usually they are in the forest area, and previously at least the forest had so much abundance, and so it was, you need not come to the city. People think if you go to the city you will have so many facilities, but originally in forests they used to have all the facilities in a very simple way. Secondly, it mentioned that there are sacred places, means there are rivers flowing. So the rivers are, water is used, water is the most important thing. And all this water will be flowing with all nourishment in that water. So purification benefits are there. So this is one important point. Another important point mentioned here is in Kali Yuga, Manda Matayo, Mandabhagya, Upadrita, Alpayusha. These are the disqualifications in the age of Kali. One is people are short-lived, they have less retentive memory, they are very unfortunate, they are very less intelligent. Sumanda means lazy. And with all these disqualifications, only one form of yoga is possible, that is Sankirtana Yajna. That is chanting the names of Lord, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Yoganam, Kalau Nastyeva, Gatiranyaga. Which means by Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, one cannot achieve perfection except by chanting the name. So any questions on this words and its explanation? So if you don't have questions, at least one point which you gathered, please. Text 13, 14. Samah kaya shiro grivam. Samam kaya shiro grivam. Dharayan achalam sthirah. Dharayan achalam sthirah. Samprekhya nasikagram syam. Samprekhya nasikagram swam. Dishashchanavalokayan. Dishashchanavalokayan. Prashantatma vigatebhir. Prashantatma vigatebhir. Brahmachari vrate stitah. Brahmachari vrate stitah. Manas samyama achitto. Manas samyama achitto. Yukta asita matparah. Yukta asita matparah. So next it talks about one should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line. So there are chakras in our body, or energy centers, starting from the base of the spine up to the top of the head. Just like we have earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence. So like that, they correspond to these centers and also the 7 planetary systems, Earth, Bhur, Bhuvar, Swar, Mahal, Dana, Satyaloka. So like that. Therefore, when you sit erect, there's a smooth flow of this energy. If the energy gets blocked somewhere, like a traffic jam happens, then it's a disturbance. So one should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and then stare steadily on the tip of the nose. Why it says tip of the nose and why should you stare there? Because if you keep your eyes open, it will go in different directions. Just like a horse is there. They cover the horse's eyes. If you don't do that, the horse will run wherever it wants. So they want the horse to see straight. So, and if you close your eyes, you'll feel sleepy. So that's why it says half opened eyes and you focus on the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind. So if you do these 2 things, just hitting with body, neck and head erect, and then stare steadily in the tip of the nose, then the mind becomes subdued, devoid of fear. Just like a horse is fearful, and that's why it wants to run here and there. So to reduce the fear, they cover it so that the driver knows that if I direct it properly, the horse will go happily. But if I let it go wherever it wants, then it will get afraid and it will not move. So the why what is the biggest problem in subduing the mind? Fearfulness, phobia. There are first program when we did, we wanted to fill the whole hall with the audience. The topic we chose was overcoming fear. Then little effort, the whole hall was filled because we had to choose a topic which is relevant to everyone. It is problem for everyone. If you choose something which is only your problem, only select people will come. But we put all the phobias in that poster. So like that. So even the Brahma to the smallest ant, they have this common problem. That is fear. So the way to, just like the ostrich is there, and the ostrich is being chased by some prey, a predator. What it does, anyone knows? Ostrich is running mostly. It is a sand. Because it's in the desert and it cannot run anywhere. You cannot hide also because it's open and the animal is chasing. What it will do, it will just put its head inside the mud and assume that I am out of danger. So like that, at least momentarily to overcome this fear, we have to first subdue the mind, and for that the body has to cooperate. Without the cooperation of the body, the mind cannot be focused. And then, just like Jackie Chan was there, this martial artist. In one interview, he was telling that his son cannot stand in one place for some time. Always dancing on the while standing is while talking to his father also. But he knows that because he is a successful martial artist, that we should be fixed in one place. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind devoid of fear, completely freed from sex life. So here, brahmachari, it is said. Brahmachari means we are always thinking, I'll get pleasure from something different. If something is like this, no, it should be different. Like this, keep on, we try and if I have a boy's body, I think the girl is happy. The girl thinks the boy is happy. One girl may think that other girl is happy. The other boy is that. If I have this type of car, the other type of car will be good, maybe. Like that, we're always thinking about the opposite. Just like they say the two frogs were there in Japan, they were coming from both sides of the mountain, and this frog thought the other side of the mountain is better. We learned in our childhood. Or some people think the other side of the river is very fertile. If you go and settle in the other country, maybe I'll be very happy. So this is how we get attracted always to the opposite. When you are here, you're thinking about something different. So therefore it says completely free. One should meditate upon me. So why we should meditate on the Lord? Because he is not at all disturbed. We have to go through all this struggle to control the mind, but for him it's effortless. Therefore, he is able to do everything. That's why he is known as God. Because for him, the mind control need not be practiced. But in our case, we have to practice. So what we do, we fix our mind on someone who has already controlled his mind. Why we are doing a PhD under one guide? Because he has already achieved some perfection. So we are struggling to do that project. But since he has executed so many projects, we take his help. So one should fix his mind on the super soul who's not disturbed by outside or inside, within the heart. So here heart means where the soul is situated, and make me the ultimate goal of life. So first the goal has to be fixed. For that, we should fix ourselves also, and then we should follow the process which is mentioned here.
Hare Krishna. So these two shlokas are talking, taking it forward. So we found a secluded place. We went into the jungle. We found a secluded place, and we found neither too high nor too low, and we sat on a deer skin with one of on top of a deer skin on top of say soft cloth, and sat down for me. And then we are trying to fix our mind, controlling the mind, and then we are sitting erect because sitting posture makes a lot of difference. If you were slouching, or this happened especially post-pandemic when the schools reopened, I was hearing from one of the mothers that it was so difficult to make the children discontinued sit in one place because they had just started going to school during the pandemic. They don't know that in school you're supposed to sit in one place. And sitting on a chair the way you all are sitting, legs down, sitting on the chair. Children didn't know. Their legs are on one side, some legs are on the table. They just didn't know how to sit. And because maybe we are in India are more disciplined, we don't have to tell the basics that this is how to sit, this is how to do it. There in India, that was also India, but post-pandemic, the small children, they didn't know how to handle the children because the children were actually attending school, but the basics were not in place. So sitting posture makes a lot of difference. And even when we are chanting, actually, it is said that don't slouch, don't lie down, unless you're erect. Sit erect. Then you're able to chant better because the mind, the heart, and the stomach is in the same line. You're able to concentrate better. For anything, when we are trying to concentrate, it happens automatically. We are sitting erect. Meditate on my form, withdrawing from the sense objects. Now here, one of the things, like with a vow of celibacy, one of the things which Ashtanga Yoga has, which Bhakti Yoga is actually a concession. In Ashtanga Yoga, you cannot be married. You have to be a celibate. And celibate is described as Karmana Manasa Vacha Sarva Vastu Sarva. Sarvatra Maipuna Tyago Brahmacharya Sachachate, which is the vow of brahmacharya. Like a lot of people say that getting married is too much of Shamila. Better I remain brahmachari. But that is not a brahmachari. If you are not married and you're forever looking at, movies or girls or porn or whatever, then you're not a brahmachari. Brahmachari, as per the scriptures, is a person neither in mind, nor in words, nor in action. You can even think of the opposite sex. That is a brahmachari. And in today's world, it is not possible. As in, to be so strict. Because at least you go to work, so you can't say, I will go to an only men's office. I do not interact with any lady. Even you don't work, you decide I can't go because there are women all around. You go to hospital if you fall ill. What if a lady doctor is or a lady attendant? You can't say, no, 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 you are a lady, don't come near me. I'm not supposed to be about it. It doesn't work that way. So these things are like what Ashtanga Yoga is saying is more strict. What Bhakti Yoga is saying, if you are not able to control your senses or the non-natural progression of life from Brahmacharya, you can move to Grihastha. Grihastha, you are attached to only one person, and it is a very controlled life. And if it's an ashram, it's a grihast ashram and not a griham maybe. That's a different concept which we should not touch right now. But if it's a grihast ashram where you're treating it like an ashram, it's a very controlled life. And the purpose of that controlled life is you move to vanaprastha. After a certain age, you can be staying together, but it is vanaprastha. It is not grihast life anymore. Idea is to develop detachment at every stage. That is possible in Bhakti Yoga. In Ashtanga Yoga, that concession is also not there. One has to be absolutely celibate to be able to meditate on my form, Machitha. That is making me the ultimate goal of life, which is Matpara. Ultimate goal of life, even Bhakti Yogis find that Krishna should be the ultimate goal of life. And they try to weave our life around that concept, that thought. For Ashtanga Yogis, nothing else. You go to a forest, obviously you won't have an office over there. You don't have a Facebook over there. You don't have Wi-Fi connection in a forest if you're actually going inside a forest. So you're not connected to the world, it's secluded. And if you're normally when one is sitting alone in a secluded place, all the basic instincts will come because there's nobody to check. But that is where Krishna knows, God knows, He's sitting in your heart. So you cannot even think of the opposite sex. You cannot even, do anything. And then you make me the ultimate goal of your life, which is God. You make me the ultimate goal of your life and you concentrate on me. This is the requirement. So when we start reading this chapter, especially for the first time, all of us have tried it and followed it. Yeah. Find a secluded place, go to a jungle, find a deer skin, put a soft cloth, sit on it, and then we come to this shloka. Looks like maybe not possible. So then we take it forward.
Okay, some two more points here. One is the Vishnu Murti. What is Vishnu Murti means? Vishuddha Sattva means he is not affected by the three modes. Just like you're climbing onto the boat, but supposing there is no boatman and you don't know how to row the boat or whatever, obviously no use. So just as we need a captain for a ship, so there is the Lord is present with us. Just like we are doing this program, so one of us is leading and you are following. So like that, the yoga, Vishnu is there to guide the soul while he is in this body. And we have to take help of it. Similarly, next we talked about this celibacy. The another meaning of celibacy is to be focused. Just like why the Prime Minister of India has been very successful, because he is celibate. Even people who are married, when they practice celibacy, they are able to achieve so many things. So even outside world, you see, even Imran Khan for many years he was not married, and Pataudi asked him a question. Of course, it's the wrong example, but before at least he was interviewed, why you are not marrying? So then he told, he was by that time successful cricketer, but he said, see, I have seen all my other cricketers, they're getting married and struggling, so I don't want to marry like that. He told at that point of time. Anyway, so next it talks about what is the cause for fear. It is explained in the Bhagavatam that Bhayam Dvitiya Biniveshatasya. That is duality is the cause for fear. Supposing you are very in a cold place and suddenly you sense heat, then that is fearful. So if you analyze carefully, what is the reason for fear? The opposite, duality, which means if you are used to success, failure is fearful. If you are used to richness, poverty is fearful. If you are used to healthy life, unhealthy situation is a fearful situation. So like that, if you are used to success, then failure is fearful. So like this, and why we are not accepting this duality? But duality is essential. So if we accept it as the plan of the Lord, like the Pandavas were there, uh, even though they were into very difficult situations, because they were constantly associating with Krishna, it really didn't bother much. Although a normal person would have been much affected, they were not disturbed. So these are some points. Any questions? युञ्जन्येवं सदात्मानं युञ्जन्येवं सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः योगी नियतमानसः शान्तिं निर्वाण परमां शान्तिं निर्वाण परमां मत्संस्थाम् अधिगच्छति मत्संस्थाम् अधिगच्छति. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities. So this has to be constant. Just like an iron bar is there, you want to magnetize it, but constantly rub it. Or the electromagnetism also, current has to continuously pass. The moment current goes, magnetism is lost. So like that, this has to be constantly done, controlling the body, mind, and activity. So controlling here again I'm saying, which means utilizing the body, mind, and activity. If you keep it idle, also problem. You leave the body, mind, just like some people are there. You buy some sophisticated instrument. The guide will not allow anyone to use it because he thinks that the moment it is used, it will get spoiled. But if you by not using also, especially these electrical equipments, if you don't use them for some time, they will not function. I think you must be knowing better. So this body, mind, and activities should be utilized. The mystic transcendentalist. Here, mystic means perfection. He has done this to perfection. And then his transcendentalist means he is able to transcend the three modes. Why the three modes? By nature, they are always changing. One mode is dominating the other mode. Just like if you're on the boat, the waves are always coming. So this three modes are always disturbing the body, mind, and activities. But he has practiced. Again, there is another movie, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. One of the training is he has to jump over a water body. And in that water body, one log of wood is there. He has to put his foot on that log of wood and cross. And he's repeatedly failing. But then he practices in such a way, he just touches it and jumps off. So like this, so the transcendentalist, he has to live in this world which is made of three modes, but at the same time not get caught, use it, but not get caught by it. This mind, regulated, attains to the kingdom of God. So what is the kingdom of God? It is not somewhere far off. People generally think up in the heavens, which means they think it is somewhere very away from me. But kingdom of God is right next to us. Because God is next to us, naturally we learned that Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. And fifth chapter, last verse also. What is that verse? Sarvaloka Maheshwara. So the kingdom of God is everywhere. So how do you attain the kingdom of God? By becoming conscious of the God. That's all. If you have become conscious of the Lord, you have attained the kingdom of God. And for the abode of Krishna, or the abode of Krishna, by cessation of material existence. So cessation of material existence doesn't mean we leave this material world. We are not attached to the material world, which means you utilize the world but not become controlled by it.
Hare Krishna. So this show talks about the goal of Ashtanga. Up till now, from 10 to 14, we were discussing what is the actual way to practice Ashtanga. Here, we are talking about the goal of Ashtanga, which is we are by practicing control of our body, mind, and activities, and with regulated mind, the yogi attains two things. One is cessation of material existence, which is nirvana parama, and the second is Lord Krishna's kingdom, which is Mat-Samsthan. So, by doing so much, one attains these two. Or where is the difficulty? If it is just a matter of practicing celibacy and finding a secluded place in a jungle, then everybody may not be able to do it. A lot of people may be able to. So, then where is the difficulty? The difficulty lies in that when we are practicing like this, at that stage of practice, it is a very difficult process because always you're controlling. And controlling the mind is difficult. The difference between this and Bhakti Yoga is when we practice Bhakti Yoga, from the beginning there is taste. Because from the beginning we are doing something and we are getting a reciprocation. We are like when you're sitting like this and you're practicing, sitting in one place and fixing the mind on God, there should be the cessation of material activities. There is no mention whether you're allowed to eat or not. And certainly you're not be getting chapati sitting in the jungle. Whatever you can eat, fruits, berries, whatever you find. And then the concentration should not be on finding the fruits, berries all the day. The concentration should be on sitting in one place and practicing. So then the entire practice itself is difficult. Whereas Bhakti Yoga starts with prasadam. The first thing we do is offering and prasadam. Even our khichdi is supposed to be having all the sabjis and all the masalas in it. It is not just rice, dal, haldi and salt. We get taste from the beginning and we control the mind by dovetailing our senses, our activities, our interests to Krishna. We keep Krishna in the center of our activities. So whatever we like to do, suppose we like to draw. So many people we see they make the rangoli so nicely. They will draw and they will fill it out nicely, and the rangolis will come out so nice. Suppose we like to dance, so then we dance for Krishna. Like Sreenivas used to do all kinds of movie songs, dance and all earlier. But after she came to Krishna consciousness, she's dancing only related to Krishna. And she's finding out more happiness when she was sharing with you. And if you like to sing, so a lot of people are there who will sing. Whoever likes to sing can sing anything and everything. But then when you start obtaining that, then let me start singing for the pleasure of Krishna. And when you start singing Mahamantra or bhajans, then these movie songs and all, even the movie bhajans, they become unattractive. And sometimes we get criticized for that. Then after all, it's a bhajan. And in that song, I don't even remember what that song was. And somewhere there was that word not. It was not a bhajan. But then the kid was not able to understand because the word Ram was less unpleasant. She thought it's a bhajan. And she said, why don't you let it? How come it was a bhajan? There was some, I'm not able to remember the name. There was something Ram somewhere, but it was not a bhajan. So people can't even differentiate. Or even the bhajans, they are like, when you hear the word, it is not so attractive as when you hear the Vaishnav bhajans. Once you get the taste for them, or simply Mahamantra. Because whatever is your prayer, it's very individualist. It is not that give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. If you give me this, I'll give you that. It is not Dukandar. It is not, running opportunistic call. We are simply having some emotions, some thoughts for that moment, which we are discussing. We are just sharing with God, right? How we just kind of opening our heart to God. So it's very personal at that time. And it happens very nicely when you're doing Mahamantra. Because we are just taking the name of the Lord. And we can absorb ourselves in the name of the Lord and whatever reciprocation, we can open our heart at that time. Because there's no other disturbance. So the taste comes from the beginning. We are not waiting to reach a certain stage, then we get taste. It's like if you join a company, you start with a peon, until you become a vice president or a president, there's no fun. Then you toil so many years to reach that stage, and then you start treating everybody under you because you were inferior and you were junior. That is not peace, that is not what that is service. And when you go through Ashtanga Yoga, I have seen people who have gone through, who are in the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. They have so many bodily and so many other illnesses, which they say, and I was trying to discuss it, why do you have them? Or, I mean, why don't you do something to address these? The answer was, on the spot, these things will happen. Whereas we do not get that as a byproduct. We are allowed to live our life our way, even if we find this. That's all.
So any questions so far? So here there's a mention of the spiritual sky. So normally, whatever experience we have in this world, we define it in space and time. They ask you to describe what is happening around you. You start with the places. This is happening at this place at this time. This is how you normally define. But the scientists have understood that the space-time ultimately depends on the consciousness. Just like this screen is the same thing which is occupying 1 feet here is occupying nearly some 6 feet there. So it is a projection, the mind. As early as the 16th century, the modern scientists argued that whatever experience I have outside me, actually it depends on what is happening inside my mind. So by altering my mind, what I see outside can also be altered. Yeah. So come to verse number 16. Natyashnatastu yogosti. Natyashnatastu yogosti. Naichaikantam na ashnatah. नैचैकान्तम् अनश्नतः नचाति स्वप्नशीलस्य नचाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन. So now Krishna is one by one explaining what is all to be done. So after hearing this, obviously Arjuna will say, I can't do it. So there is no possibility of once becoming yoga. Even if you think the other things are possible, till now whatever we told, you can manage somehow to do it. But the main point here says no possibility of once becoming a Arjuna if one eats too much or eats too little. This is very important, especially for a person who is dying. It is very painful. And the only way to become painless death is you fast. How do we know that? We see even for founder of ISKCON, when he knew that he is going to leave his body, first thing he did is he stopped eating and drinking. But still he was very perfect in his conscious clarity was there. Because the moment you stop eating and drinking, the body can resist any pain. So that is the most difficult thing, but that is essential. For one who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So these four things are very important. If you eat too much, you become diabetic. If you eat too less, you get tuberculosis. And sleep too much also, then a lot of diseases will come. And sleep less also, your mind will not function properly. So many accidents have happened because of sleep loss. So, but this we find very difficult. We are telling our members, please wake up early morning. Even, of course, we have gone through the same struggle. But this is the most challenging thing, to wake up at the right time and sleep at the right time. If you can do these two and eating properly, you can live a happy life, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Most intelligent people, most wealthy people, most healthy people, they follow these four things. Okay.
So here, this shloka is talking about that diet part, that you should not eat too much, you should not eat too less, you should not sleep too much, you should not sleep too less. Now, what is the recommendation is for a sannyasi, the amount is allowed to sleep in a day, 24 hours is 2 hours. For a Varapasta, it is 3 hours. For a Brahmachari, it is 4 hours. And for a Vidasta, it is 6 hours. So, most of us today sleep more than 6 hours in 24 hours. This is the way we live. If we sleep too much, it is not good for health. If we sleep too less, it is not good for health. And because the sannyasi is on the renounced order of time. So, eating, sleeping, mating, depending. These are 4 things that every living entity does. Even a mosquito can try to be a mosquito control. Or, the worst of the animals or the more birds or any other you try to harm them or kill them, they will defend themselves or a living. Running away is one of the ways of defending. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending is something that every living entity does. Out of those eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we have to transcend that. So sleeping is one of the ways in which we transcend. Eating, regulate eating, regulate sleeping, regulate mating, regulate defending. That is the process. So we don't suddenly go on, or suddenly if you decide I have to become an Ashtanga, so probably I will not sleep. How long you will last? Within a week, either you will be flat, sleeping 12 hours, or you will have given up the entire process, doesn't matter, it doesn't work for me, let me go back to my whatever earlier lifestyle it was. It is not, it is something which gradually we control. That suddenly we can't do it. Overnight it's not possible. So if you are, because I know this is a challenge, many of you are facing challenge by bringing it up. The earliest waking up time also is 8 a.m. And that you consider that if you wake up at 8 a.m., please consider waking up early. But waking up early, as per the Vedic system, is 4 a.m. You must 4 hours of morning time, which is supposed to be the more of the time, the best time of the day. Unless you have experienced it, nobody can explain it to you. The taste of the food is eating. So if you are waking up at 8 o'clock as a habit, and you want to break the habit, that is the first thing. If you don't want to break the habit, the rest of it is not applicable. But if you want to break the habit, you start waking up at 4 for a week. Become comfortable. Then next week, 7:30. Like that, gradually you can come up to 4 a.m. And to wake up at 4 to 8, you have to sleep approximately 15 minutes earlier. That time, please don't see the 6 hour regulation because we are not used to the 6 hours thing right now. So one by one. Let the first thing start. Let the first thing of waking up early and chanting early happen. When that happens, then automatically all the circle, it is easier to make circle at that time. When you are able to do this, then slowly the sleeping time, it actually is also a factor of how much physical labor, how much mental labor you have done during the day, and how much tired you are. So if you are sleeping, by say 9:30, exactly 4 o'clock you will wake up. 10 o'clock, 4 o'clock you will wake up. Try doing that. It may be you have to prepone your sleeping time to prepone your waking up time. So constantly keep on doing that. And then you can come up to maybe a 4 o'clock or a 5 o'clock in the morning. And try doing that. You will see that you achieve a lot more during the day. I have also gone through days when I am got up at 12 noon, 1 in the morning, because slept at 6 in the morning, because the whole night getting away with friends, partying, whatever it is. And I still at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning, you can't wake up before 12. And then the whole day goes so bad, the whole day goes waste. But you wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and you see you achieve a lot more and you're much more alert. And the feel good factor is a lot more. Try doing that. You will see the difference. Experience it yourself. Don't believe my words. Experience it yourself and you will realize this is a much better way to lead our life. Even in school, the first things we learn, the first of the nursery rhymes, while you were learning to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So, wealth we don't know what health and wisdom both definitely will come. And if health and wisdom are there, then wealth can't be very far off. That will also be.
Okay, here some practical points also mentioned. That what is sufficient eating? Like an elephant is there, it has to eat 100 kgs. An ant is there, it has to eat 1 grain of sugar. So what is sufficient varies from person to person. Similarly, sleep also. It's although we mentioned 6 hours, all this case to case it can be stretched or shrunk. So that has to be kept in mind. And next it was mentioned about what kind of foods we eat. That also affects our behavior. So that is an important point. And then mainly it says that food has to be first offered to Krishna. Then it is the contaminating effects of the food are not felt. So one more thing is, if you eat too much, what happens? You start dreaming while sleeping, because when you eat food, the bile secretion increases, and because of that, a person becomes hallucinated. So he tends to dream a lot. So because of dreaming, you want to sleep more. If you wake up from a dream, first of all, you won't like to wake up from a dream, and having woken up also, you'll be thinking about the dream only, and you want to continue in the dream, so you go back to sleep. So these are some problems of overeating, because it has a connection with the sleep. So any questions there? युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः A very, very important words. The word yukta. Yukta means should serve the purpose. Whatever we are doing, eating, sleeping, whatever, recreation, this should be dovetailed. Yukta means connected properly. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. Recreation also important. Just like the Pandavas also, they had a lot of recreation. Eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. All this should be regulated. Can mitigate all material pains. Dukkha, it says. So ultimately, what is the purpose of all this yoga? It should relieve your suffering. How? By practicing the yoga system.
So this is actually a very important sloka, and it is teaching what is our philosophy, which is Vedanta. We are doing everything that is supposed that any normal person is doing. What is changing is the internals. And because the internals are changing, there are slight changes in the externals, which a devotee can see another devotee in this. Like anywhere in the world we go, even when we are traveling, you see somebody with tilak and something, this person is a devotee. And two devotees have a way of communicating. Like, even strangers, the devotees will come together and they will talk and discuss something or the other. And sometimes it becomes like quite intimate talk with devotees who are complete strangers. It happened in one of my travels. I was traveling from Bangalore to Ahmedabad, and as usual, we were always in anxiety. Bangalore distances are so much. So we reached the airport much before time. Moment I don't go to those, show your credit card and go to lounges. I don't go to there. I simply go to the gate from where we have to go, sit down nicely, and morning time, everything is going to put the chanting. That's not disturbed. So I sat down and I started chanting. Within 5 minutes, one person came and he just said, Hare Krishna Mataji. I don't know this. This is Ashton, Hare Krishna. At the moment he saw me, he was like, family, Mataji, I'm keeping my bag, I'm going to do it. Then he came, and then he was, he took us, that day was Bhagavad there was Prabhuji. He took us something and he said, Bhagavad first taking 10 is not, you won't take anything. He's offering you to son. He's not seeing me ever. He's offering you to son. Okay, fine. Then after that, he was chanting, I was chanting. Suddenly, he took out his book, he got on the phone, and he started taking tasks. Bhagavatam class. Hello? We are only, I mean, if we have to take a Bhagavatam class and get it to go, if you say please somebody else take my place because I am to travel, look at the results of the kid. He's taking Bhagavatam class. And the first thing he, I think, exchanged his name with me. The second sentence he told me was, Mataji, I'm going to endeavor to see my girl. That's a very intimate thing. I mean, it's not something, it's a personal thing. You don't discuss with anyone. But because of that Tilak and the Kanjimala, it's a very easy for him to tell you. And finally, our seats on the flight were different seats, different places. How much of effort he put in to put me on the seat beside him. And he knows the person beside him, oh, she's my mother. Can she please come and sit here? So then I went and sat there. And throughout the flight, we were discussing Bhagavatam, we were discussing scriptures, and we were discussing what he should say when he goes to see the Lord. On what basis he should be saying yes, or on what basis he should be saying no. The most personal conversation with an absolute stranger. So, and by the time we reached the airport, Ahmedabad airport, he and Amma were there to pick me up. And I was busy like lugging or something or the other, and he was also, we were walking out together like mother and son. And then suddenly he said, Mataji, Prabhuji is there. I said, I haven't seen him big until now. Arey Mahaji, I can't be recognize Prabhuji. That was not difficult. Then I said, yes, it is very So when we devotees, even in office it has happened. When we are like I've gone and I've tried to or like order food and the food is going to come. Suddenly somebody will materialize from nowhere and say, Hare Krishna Mataji. How do you know that the boss is how does that person know and how does he call him Mataji? Because he sees the figure of the country. So they know that if somebody is in figure in country in office, can definitely be called Mataji. So then we are having a very nice intimate conversation and our boss is standing in one corner and observing. How does she know this person? She doesn't even come to Bangalore. I don't know it. He just don't. Because he's a devotee. It is very normal for us to be, what I'm trying to say is this external manifestation of Tilak and Kanti comes with a lot of internal faith in the process. From the beginning, I have not been putting Tilak and Kanti like this and going to this. When somebody is having that much of faith in the process, the external manifestation will happen. And then, what we are changing is the internals. We are not changing the externals. We concentrate first on changing the internals. We are also eating food. Everybody else is also eating food. We regulate it by eating only what is offered to Krishna. And we offer to him only what he likes. We don't offer to him hot coffee. Krishna, take it home. We don't offer that. Because we know that is not acceptable to him. We will not offer that. We don't offer them egg-based food because we know that's not acceptable to him. We want to please him, so we offer him what is acceptable to him. And then we are taking that. So that regulation happens. That is the yukta. We are allowed to eat. We are allowed to eat our favorite food. With the restriction, it should not have onion, garlic, non-veg, whatever. So we are allowed to do that. And the other thing is also, we are allowed to listen. Like Muslims, they are not supposed to listen to music if you're the hardcore Taliban types. They are not supposed to listen to music. We are allowed to sing, dance, our movement is singing, dancing, eating. Because we are allowed, we do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. We are not doing it for our pleasure. And when we start doing it for the pleasure of Krishna, we realize that the happiness, the pleasure, the anand that we experience is much more lasting. And it's much on a much more sattvic or beyond sattvic level. So we are able to sustain it. And that's why we keep coming back to it. We want to stay in that same realm as much as possible. And that is what is Yukta Har Viharas.
So here the word, as I said, yukta, repeating everything, because all these are necessary. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to have recreation, you have to do work. But it has to be serve the purpose. Utility is the principle. Even it's depend yukta vairagya and palgu vairagya. Palgu vairagya means artificially renouncing, saying I don't need this. But yukta vairagya means you utilize it for the right purpose. Because she was sharing her experience, I also last year I was going to Toronto on the way via this Frankfurt. But I was wearing, like she was saying, the signs of a devotee, Kantimala, Tilak, everything. So one girl who's half my age, she came to me and asked me, "Are you Hare Krishna?" Then she started talking. Then she said, "I have some doubts. I want to get cleared." She's married and she's going to USA. And she said, "I want to ask some doubts from you. Can I take my seat next to you?" Then she tried her best to shift her seat, but it was not possible. Finally, at Frankfurt, she goes to US, I go to Canada. But I spent half an hour with her discussing some practical philosophy. So like this, I never expected that in the airport I'll meet someone like this and talk about Krishna or something. Normally, if you sit in the flight, all kinds of things happen there. But all the time it was going like this. And once I had to go to some factory, which is somewhere in Aurangabad. And I was thinking what I will do, where I will get food here. Then I landed there. So then I asked them, "You give me food without onion, garlic." They arranged. Then still how I'll manage 3 days. Next day, I went to the office to meet someone. He is supposed to be the boss there. We have to discuss the project work. In his table, I saw all pictures of Krishna. Then I was surprised. He said, "Where is your Kantimala?" I was hiding my Kantimala. "You are said to be a devotee. Where is your Kantimala?" Then I opened. I said, "Yes, I am a devotee." Then he asked me, "What are you eating?" I said, "Whatever they are giving with I'm eating." "No, no, no. I will give you prasad from tomorrow onwards." Like that he did. And then not only for my travel also, he packed some food and gave me. I was thinking what I will do here because I'm practicing properly only most of the time. Now in this new situation, how I'll continue this practice? And again, recently when I went to Toronto also, I had to meet one professor. But I was thinking this professor must be eating, drinking, all kinds of habits. So I'm devotee, how I'll relate with him. But I mentioned to him clearly, I don't do this, all this habit. Then he said, he invited me to a vegetarian restaurant. He's inviting me. So this restaurant is there. You get vegetarian food. I'm taking my students there. You please come and meet me. I thought, okay, I didn't, for some reasons, I didn't go. So like this, what we are saying is you do your normal activities, but if you keep Krishna in your life, then the situations will, whenever I went to some conference anywhere in the world, my first problem will be where I will find food and place to stay. Because if you stay outside, it's expensive and you won't get the food of your choice. But all the time it has happened that my conference venue is close to the temple. Recently also that University of Toronto is walkable distance from the ISKCON temple. So like that, if we don't know, we practice this properly, everything will come within your reach. But if you don't practice, how much ever you try, it will be evading us. Okay, so these are all some practical points.
Just to give you a reminder to this, because of the stories you are learning, the moment you see any devotee, especially from Mataji, don't jump. That has also happened with me. It was the first, like I was getting back into association and just got on from a flight in Calcutta and I saw one person, he was wearing big piece of Himala and he was having guitar and he was having fever around his neck, little older man and big stout man. I saw him and I jumped in. So obviously I ran to him and I started talking to him when he was talking to me like a very indulgent small child. So he said, "You know what? I only set up this some temple in Patna. I only did this. I only did that. This, that." He was talking about was nothing for him. "Oh, you know, if I go, what you do?" And then he said, "Where side you have to go?" So I told him where my house is. He said, "I'll come. I said, "No, my car is full, so I will go." I didn't know what to go to. Tell that car to go. He said, "Just come. Why should I tell you to go?" I'll go. So when he said, "Okay, so tomorrow I need you alone in Govindas and we will be discussing some intricacies of Bhakti Yoga." And 5 o'clock or something, he said some timing for the morning. We started talking about some yoga and I was with Bhakti Shastri that time and we had exam Saturday morning. This is Friday evening. And that yoga only we had to memorize. So he started I also parroted everything. I know I'm also doing it. So Saturday morning appointment didn't happen. So Saturday evening. Now I said, yeah. Then after going home, something is why did he say I want to meet you for me? So next morning, Bhakti Shastri class and only I got the marks. Somebody completely. I'm not going to go. Nobody agreed to come. No, we are all busy. We figure out how to do. Okay. Then I called my Mataji, who I kind of take advice from. Then I called her and I told Mataji, such and such person is there. This is what he's claiming. And he wants to leave me alone. I'm feeling very uncomfortable. What should I do? Because we also have this fear of Vaishnava of our service people, what do I say, what do I say? And then she said, be very clear in your dealings. Tell him, I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. Don't make any excuse for them to be behind you. If not today, then tomorrow, 1 hour later, all that will go on. So I told him very clearly. And maybe that person was a bogus person because that Mataji is a very senior Mataji. She will know if somebody has set out the temple for now. She will know. I forget the name of that. So I told him clearly that I'm not doing wrong. He was so offended. And then I saved his number. So I was trying to delete his number. It was a new phone after maybe Sunday evening or so. So one blank SMS or WhatsApp, I think SMS, I don't think WhatsApp was there. It went to him. He immediately wrote that your innocence will be seen and let us speak tomorrow. And I said, I'm so sorry, I'm not trying to delete your number. I'm not doing it. So don't get carried away. Please keep your eye on your shoulders and read and do whatever you think your instinct tells you. And if you have doubts, check with some people. Okay, don't go alone anywhere. Take someone with you.
Although we said Uktya Vairagya, but doesn't mean we whimsically start using things, saying that, okay, this also can be used in the service of the Lord. So that's why, as she was saying, we should be sober also. We have time or should we start? Yes. What is the recreation? Yeah. Recreation, going on pilgrimage, we have to trek the mountains and all. Recently, I had to go to mountainous place. That's also one kind of recreation. And then we dance and singing. That's also recreation. And like that, there are recreation for devotees also.
So you have small child. So naturally, mountains or something out of town will go once in a while. You can't go every time. You need to keep activities. You need to keep having as normal family life as possible. Going to the beaches, going to the parks. Normally, malls, they don't interest us. But beaches and parks, playing games with her, playing, chess, something which is intelligent. Playing chess or playing those, there are a lot of learning games nowadays which teach a lot, like Scrabble, vocabulary games, or those kind of games you can play. A lot of recreation in the sense that stories related to Krishna or pastimes related to Krishna just enact. Let's play this, I play that, like that, and then that's it. Mixing already knowing what that she already knows a lot of things. She's already in that, playing the balls of the she's already doing all that. That is what it's doing. Like basically, just keep it as normal as possible. Because when she starts getting into teenage, she start to go against everything that she has done.
Today we celebrated the Vyas Puja of Suraj Bharat Maharaj. He's 75 years old. He's a sannyasi. He's a JVC guru. But daily he goes to the gymnasium to practice exercise. So that is required to keep the body healthy and fit. If you sannyasi, nobody will come to take care of you. Family man, someone will come. But he's younger than most of us. Looks younger. Although he's 75, he look very jet black hair, no baldness, nothing. How? Because he's having some recreation.
He plays the
Basically, it says, yeah, he plays the veena. Once Bhakti Vikas Maharaj came to, one day we had a program in the temple and it was pouring like anything. So we had to take Maharaj to the hostel. And we are doubtful whether students will allow us to do the program hostel, but what, no other way. He's very strict. Maharaj is very strict. Having brought him, we have to arrange something. So we took them to the common room. And on the way to the common room, Maharaj was passing by and some people were playing carom board. So Maharaj said, playing chess is better than playing caroms because you play chess. You're using even Prabhupada for that matter, he used to play a lot of chess and football before coming to active Krishna consciousness. And in fact, when we did the program in the common room, more students came than we did in the temple. So like this, that's also Yukta Vairagya. So basically, you should be intelligent to know when to use what in the service of the Lord, when it's not favorable for the service of the Lord. Okay. I think we'll stop here.
Any questions?
So we are talking about practical Bhagavad Gita. Whatever we discussed today, we can practice.
Prabhu, you would like to do some verification of Maharaj? Maharaj? 1-2 minutes. What is it? Whatever.
So the birthday we celebrate as.
Can you show the photograph?
So why we have to speak about him? Because he was the one who started the program in 1993. He's the disciple of Prabhupada. He joined in Tokyo, Japan. He's a Canadian-born Japanese. He has translated more than 200 books from Bengali and Sanskrit into English language. He's a martial artist. Reiki, he knows how to perform Reiki. So many astrology. Any science you talk about. Recent science conference was there. We had to involve him in that discussion. So, he used to come to the hostel, Krishna hostel, room number 242 or 240. That's how this program started, in the hostel room with 4 or 5 people. Then people more attended. Then we started moving to the Vinayak temple. Then we wanted to improve the facilities, so we started here. And then ever since we did here, hundreds, thousands of people also attending our program, depending on the type. So all this was, at one point, the programs were not going well. I was getting only one person to attend my class. And I wrote to Maharaj, what should I do? Struggling to create interest in the students. He said, whoever is favorable, you continue with them. I was thinking what I will continue with one boy. But like that, we continued, because he told you continue, I continued, and you can see this happening. So all this is happening because of, and we have much better, more plans, but he's one single person who has been motivating this whole program.
Actually, we already gave our Vyasapita topics in the temple before. So we wanted to speak. Anybody else wants to speak about Maharaj? If any interaction or follow discuss or follow him or anything, please feel free. Sit.
Yeah, I mean, Maharaj is a very great scholar that we know from the books. Like he has translated from Bengali, Sanskrit. So he's so very knowledgeable, and 200 books, such books he has, and very very philosophically, very difficult books also, like Vedanta Sutra and all the 6 Goswami books, Satsanga, and all very philosophical, and also Upanishads. I think he has already translated 10 Upanishads, which are considered the principal Upanishads. So you can see it's a great scholarship. There is no end to it for Maharaj. And actually, somewhere I read that Prabhupada wanted that gradually he will get all of these books. And it's through Maharaj that all these books came. I mean, Maharaj writes books at a rate which is much faster and we can even reach. He's writing 200 books, we are not even doing 100. Like only Amma has read all the books. So it's like that. And also, I thought about Maharaj even before I came to India. So in US, there was one Prabhuji, Brahmachari in Houston. So he came from Chennai. He was a Brahmachari in Chennai, and then from there. So I heard about Krishna Prabhuji also, and also Maharaj. So he said that once there was Jagannath Rath Yatra happening, and Maharaj was there, and Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was also there. And Jayapataka Swami Maharaj says that in this assembly, there is one sadhu. And then finally said this sadhu is one Swami Maharaj. So this is how they know the Maharaj. And he's like, when you hear his lecture, then he has this kind of this, you can see that his stylized smile, or like he himself is discussing and he himself is enjoying what he's saying. So this kind of
essentially whatever we are lectures we are doing, whatever programs we are doing, based on his teachings only.
So anybody wants to verify, when we are verifying, it is called art verification. So I even one sentence to say these people, because we get those people don't need our verification. It is art verification.
Okay. ஆக்சுவலி அங்க பேரிகேட் போட்டிருப்பாங்க, அங்க போகாம ரைட்ல திரும்பணும். இருந்தாலும் நீங்க வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க, ஒருத்தர் அனுப்புறேன், நீங்க அவர் கூட வர போன்ல
So it was really, I was very excited at this time. The first thing I did was go to the one lecture of Mataji. Because I really said to take the book and come. And yeah, there's always this parallel of everything whenever I listen to some lectures. And yesterday, suddenly I was going to the evening, I got and we spoke and but then I don't exactly what is stronger and just like okay, this I can't come tomorrow. I was missing that I want to get tomorrow, but I can't spend so much time. I don't think something. But then when I was going to Washington, we are making preparation for Maharaj to do like the presentation. So I was so happy I did some vegetable cutting and all that. Yeah, it always feels like if you do one thought and you forget it, Maharaj doesn't pause for them. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Would you like to say anything about Maharaj? Maharaj? Some people there in mind, you also read something.
Always the temple and so many things many people are sharing about Maharaj, different interactions of with Maharaj, who had personally and like who heard in lectures and so on. So many were telling many qualities of Maharaj, like he's so humble, he's so simple. Whenever he gives lectures also, he'll be laughing and smiling and like he speaks very jovially also sometimes. So sometimes it is some people devotees are sharing that who had interaction with Maharaj. So if it doesn't like the person, then maybe or another, he just remains calm. Like then the devotee will understand that okay, he's not interested, and then another devotee will ask the question like that. It doesn't hurt anyone. Like, it is like the way he expresses his weaknesses. And whenever I used to go to temple, so whenever Maharaj comes to Bhagavad class and I used to observe him how he behaves and how he walks and all. So he just doesn't look anywhere. He just looks on the ground and he just simply walks. Doesn't even worry who is all around him and all. So he just walks straight from his home to the temple hall and then sits in the asana. Just return give class. If anyone has certain he hears and he gives answers, and then he just simply walks back to his seat. He doesn't worry about whether someone is respecting him, whether someone he doesn't give much importance to him actually. So he is always observing his translations. So he was saying that many books he has translated. So I'm desiring sincerely that somehow I have to read and like whatever I read, I share with others also. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru.
Yeah, so one request we have that we are trying to arrange a program on the 18th of January on Thursday evening at the CLT. we are likely to invite His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj, who has been doing this Festival of India. In foreign countries, what they do is they put up some stage programs where they do kirtan, music, dance, drama, and lectures. So he has been very successful preaching in the European countries like Poland and all these places. So he is visiting Chennai, and we're trying to arrange his program. The only challenge is, can we gather the audience? At least the majority of the CLT should be filled. So that will depend on the publicity. Publicity means mainly through WhatsApp messages, through videos, and through posters and email. So we have to tell them whether it is possible, because he is a very accomplished preacher, which means wherever he goes, thousands and hundreds of thousands will attend his programs. So, but if we invite him, he is going to extend his stay here and go to the next place, Pune, after immediately the next day. So he has to schedule his travel and all these things. So two minds whether to invite him. To invite him, we should ensure that there's a good audience. So we are still debating on this. You can think it over after the end of this program. You can let us know. Or if you have something now, it's
What will be the program? Like, will it include all the dance? Because if it is.
I think he's not coming with such a big group. He has a group which performs all that, and he's the main person on the stage who orchestrates everything. But in this case, I think he'll mostly be accompanied only by the kirtan leaders. Kirtan means the musical instruments and the singers and that kind of thing. So, plus he can give a talk also, because he is an American and he worked in the US Navy long back, and he can address the students. The topic they have chosen is consciousness, the missing link, which means from his experience traveling all over the world, he has traveled far in USSR or China, anywhere, Mongolia, all these places he has traveled. So he has seen the breadth and the entire world. So he can address any type of audience, especially students. So that is our hope, that he will be able to attract them, provided we are able to get the people to the auditorium. So after that, he will take over. But our struggle is to get the audience interested in this kind of program. So obviously the poster has to be designed nicely, and probably we have to take the help of the student secretaries. They have more reach than us. People may have a bias about us, though, that we only discuss Bhagavad Gita and we are all spiritual devotional. They may not like us for that reason. But if you present this side of things, that it is being practiced all over the world, yeah, and they look so beautiful. Whoever comes with this group, they're very talented, and they perform very well. Bharatanatyam, all these foreigners, they do all these dance perform. Anyway, that we can do in future, but we can organize that kind of program which you are mentioning also. But if he finds that this is a potential place, every year he'll plan something for us. So please think it over seriously. The main thing is the publicity, how we reach out through WhatsApp groups, or can we get the student secretaries to involve in this? Once I had to arrange for a talk, and it's a science talk. But I approached to the PML coordinator, and he ensured that the whole hall was filled. So these student secretaries have the capability of organizing things much better than we are doing. We just give him the content of the program, who's the person, what he's going to do. They will ensure. So if we can do that in the short period of time, in 7 days, I can say yes to that. Okay, I'm taking a risk actually, but
So they are like organizers of the Shastra, like the one that I said. And she is actually like ISI director came and she took it. So she is in very good position in Shastra. And she will definitely know. And she actually also tries to go to the for Shastra. So she will definitely have, and you can talk to her.
now what is going on in terms of festivals, Shastra is going on now? That will be from when to when? 10 to 14 is Sarang. Okay, they have this pro shows and all, no? That's also there. But as you were saying, to get a slot in that, we should have planned much more.
She will know all the students. And she will have the reach. At least we can go to her also.
Can we try if there is any gap? Can we get a slot in silence? We can try. We can ask.
Because we are not professionals, means they would have charged the institute. We are not going to charge anyone. Just it's a free show. Whoever comes, fine. We just use the whatever facilities already created for Sarang. But 10.
There is no chance. But in SAC or somewhere else, CIT, they were saying that there they don't need so high profile. Like, so OAT means it has to be rock and very non. But this they were saying that for SAC and CIT, they don't require very high profile. But I don't know whether this, like next Saturday, we can have it. But this Saturday, whether we can reach that also we can ask.
Just try it. What I will do then, I'll tell him not to change Maharaj's plan. He can go whatever experts plan. Within these days, the Sarang time, if you can squeeze the program, we'll try it, adapt it. Otherwise, we'll plan it for the time.
Maharaj is coming 14th. Maharaj is not coming to Sarang.
Okay, we'll decide about it.
So 17 Maharaj will be here.
15, 16, 17 is anyways Madham Motsav. 18th he will go.
No, what I understand is 17th only students are coming after vacation, isn't it?
Yeah, 17th is registration. So this will be there on 17th. Yeah. So 17th is also a chance.
But we cannot invite him here in the middle of Madham Motsav. We ourselves have service over him.
So his priority 15, 16, 17 will be Sconchana. He won't make a note of that.
18th is the only
18th only day we have. Only thing is, can we ensure a good audience for that? Ultimately, it depends on the publicity. So I being outside, I don't know how much I can be able to reach out. Those who are inside only, if they can contact me.
Is there possibility of meaningful publicity?
No. Yeah.
So he's coming from Mayapur. So I try to prepone, let him come on Sunday. Instead of our program, give the CFG program on Sunday. But she said he's coming from Mayapur, he's reaching midnight. Mayapur, they have too many schedules for him. That's not possible.
Okay, we'll do one round of this chanting. So although we discussed about all these yoga practices, the simplest thing is this chanting. All the results of this yoga can be achieved through this chanting process. So we hold the beads across like this. Don't let it hang like that. Just hold it across and use the middle and thumb finger. Chant attentively and audibly. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So what I'm thinking is we'll say yes. Now we have at least 25 of us. Each of you bring 10 people. That's all. You must be having so many. Just invite. Whatever comes, we'll accept. Then of course we are doing publicity. I think we gather at least 50% is there. We'll invite some devotees also to come from outside. Take a chance. What is there? Such a great person. If he comes, definitely it will inspire us to do better in the future.
You're saying this related to your
Yes. Yeah.
They asked us whether we will be able to get the crowds and whether it's worth making our stay back. So before we handing those, I think it's a no. Immediately after handing this is yes. So we have to make it happen.
Just invite. All you have to do is if we'll give you the WhatsApp message or the video. Just send and invite people, they will come. Last time I invited 10 people, it is 10. I can assure from my side 10 will come. So he has his family itself 4 or 5 members. So maybe friends 5. He can assure 10. So I'm sure all of you can do something in this direction. You will really enjoy it. I can give you that assurance. You will enjoy it. And whoever you bring also will say good thing. That much you guarantee you. Only struggle is this much effort you have to put. Okay? So we'll start.
70 plus years is American. And things like that. American Chabu. Want to go and see American Chabu camping countries like that. Don't tell them this is so great or that doesn't look good. But they're what you understand. It's not. Okay, last time Kavya had done the RT and I want that each of you to come forward to do RT because you will eventually go to your own way, to your own houses. You should get the list over here, you should learn how to go over here so that when you go back home or wherever you go, you are able to do RT. The condition, there are 3 conditions. First, you should be chanting 50 rounds. Second, you should be in recreational dress. Third, you have to be talking in advance. Because we don't want to fight over here. I gave a recreational dress. I am chanting 50 rounds. I will need to already. So we will schedule it in such a manner that everybody can do. Today, Sreenivas is being to do, so I don't know. Strictly not recreational dress, but we have allowed her today. But ideally, recreational dress. And inform it before. So that, it's scheduled. So I was going to take the name of this. Which one? Which was the word? Happy Mataji. So who's volunteering for Sanjay? Amit had promised me New Year. He will speak Happy Mataji. That is why I looked at him and I said. So who is volunteering for Sanjay? I have seen 3 people over there. Keep it quiet. I think it's 4 people don't understand.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. இங்க வந்து கிளாஸ்க்கே 25 பேர் 30 பேர் வந்திருக்காங்க. மழை இருந்தாலும் வந்துட்டாங்க. ஓகே, அவங்களுக்கு கேட்டேன் சாண்டிங் பண்றது ஒரு ரவுண்ட் சாண்டிங் பண்றது கேட்டேன், நீங்க யோசிச்சு சொல்லுங்க முடிஞ்ச பிறகு. அவங்க இப்ப நான் அவங்க என்ன சொன்னேன்னா, 25 பேர் 30 பேர் வந்துட்டாங்க, இன்னும் இருக்காங்க ஆக்சுவலி, அவங்க வரல, ஏதோ காரணத்துல வரல. இப்போ அவங்களுக்கு ஒருத்தருக்கு நான் சொல்லி 10 you have to bring 10 people to the program. You start campaigning because I last brought 10 people from my side and there's one more person, he brought 10 from his side. So it is possible. So I'm telling, then moreover what I told is we contact the student secretaries. They are the ones who organize all these cultural festivals and they ensure that there's good attendance. So we'll reach out to them and they can definitely do something. They can do so it is possible, Mother, at least minimum 150 to 200 I can assure. Okay. So that is good for this, and moreover, it can depend on the devotees also. You can invite them, whatever risk I will take, no problem. Not a risk, but you should be you invite from outside also. We'll public because I don't think any other programs you're arranging in the city apart from the Kirtan Mela. Are you organizing any other program for Maharaj outside? So you will advertise during the other months also. But before that, okay, Mataji. ஓகே மாதிரி நான் என்ன சொல்றேன்னா, இப்போ எனக்கு இந்த 1 or 2 days இந்த வீக்லயே எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு போயிடும் அந்த பல்ஸ் வருவாங்க எனக்கு முன்னாடியே கொஞ்சம் ஐடியா வந்துடும் பப்ளிக் எவ்வளோ வராங்க. ஒருவேளை எனக்கு தோணுச்சுன்னா கம்மி வர சான்ஸ் இருக்குதுன்னா then I will tell you to publicize during the Kirtan Mela and all Islam forums that they can come to this program. Okay, so that we will mostly we should get the audience. Real backup in the marathon, let the devotees also can benefit from this program. These inside people also will get inspired by seeing our devotees coming and attending. And devotees from outside also will get inspired to see that this kind of preaching is going on inside IIT. So it is a win for us only, Mataji. So in fact, we want to invite him next year, every year, possible during this. He can schedule his visit next time for the Kirtan Mela and also club it with IIT program. Well, this is the festival time in IIT, and students will come very nicely during because the semester is not yet begun. 17th only semester is beginning, so they will come for registration all this, and by that before that all this 17th registration. After that 18 classes will start, but 17th they do formal registration of the courses and all. So before that all this Saranga Shastra, all these festivals happen. Okay, see, IIT is nearly. You will get all the audience you want, and sometimes nobody will come also. That depends on us, actually. How well we put our effort. அதான் நமக்கு வேண்டிய ஆடியன்ஸ் வர வைக்கல மாட்டேன்.